Hey everybody, it's Thursday night. I just got home. I changed my shirt. Um, sorry. So I just got home from my favorite place. I volunteer at a barn that does therapeutic riding for kids with disabilities. We've got all kinds of programs. It's really awesome. I'm not going to say the name just because this is my page. It's about my beliefs. Some things I say might upset people, some things they might agree with, whatever, but I wouldn't ever want my opinions, my personal opinions, to affect a place that I love so much. I wouldn't ever want someone to confuse what I believe with what they believe and somehow look upon them differently. So, for that reason, I'm not going to name the place, but my little public service announcement. A great way to empower yourself, to get yourself out there and to do different things and really make a difference is find some place to go volunteer. I tried a couple different places at first. The first place, when I was really trying to be, hi baby, not right now. Just wait, just wait. I volunteered at a food bank. It's a really nice place in my town, but I volunteered to be their cleaning person. That was a really bad idea on my part because I really hate cleaning. And that was really stupid of me. And come here, lay down, baby. And I let them down big time, and that was all on me. I did not show up when I was supposed to. I did not do what I was supposed to. That just was not a good fit for me. So tried a couple different places before I finally found a place that is amazing and that I love more than anything. So I would encourage everyone who's ever thought about that, thought about making a difference. It's amazing how much volunteering changes you as a person. It's almost 4 years that I've been at this place, and I can say 100% certainty I am not the same person that I was 4 years ago when I started there. I have gained so much confidence and self-worth and self-esteem by honestly getting out of my own head. It's not about me. It's about what I do and the people that need our help and the people that I can help. And it's amazing to be able to, no matter how bad my day has been, no matter how crappy I'm feeling, I go there and I am in an amazing mood. So that is my little public service announcement for volunteering. Might take you a couple tries to find something that you like, that you're really good at, that speaks to your passion. Don't let it discourage you. Keep trying, something until you find what fits for you. What I was going to talk about today was goals, but then I saw something this morning that just kind of hit me. I was watching a YouTube video, the Reverend T.D. Jakes, the Potter House, and it was a message that he had that was geared specifically towards women. And I think it mainly applies to women, but I think it applies to men as well. It's about being a nurturer. And I think obviously the majority of women are nurturers. It's not to say men can't be, but I think the majority of women are nurturers. I know I am. I've always described myself that way. I'm the type of person, you're hungry, let me feed you. You need something, let me help you. Let me do this. For a long time, I was a people pleaser. I got most, if not all, of my self-worth out of what I could do for other people. And if they didn't praise me and thank me, and then I was worthless. And so it's taken me a long time to get past that, and I'm still not 100% past it, but I'm way better than I used to be. Volunteering has played a big part in that because it's a team effort. It's not about me. It's not about what I can do, what I can or can't do. It's about the people that we serve, the people that we help. And everybody pitches in to make sure what needs done gets done. But so the message today from Pastor T.D. Jakes was, he was talking about women being nurturers. And, it's natural for mothers. Oh, come here, baby. Mommy take care of it. Mommy help you. Mommy will help you, whatever. But then he said something that just kind of hit me because it's so true. He said that just like women nurture a child or someone who is sick or tend to that person, we have a bad habit of nurturing our pain. We hold on to it. We let it fester. We help it grow. And it's like, holy crap, that's so true. And you'd think being a nurturer is a good thing. You want to take care of people, you want to help people, nurses, doctors, people like that. They're nurturers. They want to help, they want to care. You don't see that as being a bad thing, but when you nurture your pain, when you nurture your sorrow, when you just hold on to it, that is so devastating to you mentally, emotionally, and physically. I think I said the other day, when you keep replaying those painful memories over and over and over again, just dwelling on them and focusing on them, every time you replay those memories in your head, your body is responding to that same pain as if it were the first time again. Your body is reacting in the same way. So, I just wanted to share something. I did it for years and I didn't realize how much damage I was doing to myself. At first, when I started doing, I thought it was just harmless, no big deal, just a little fantasy type of thing. But then the more I started thinking about it, I realized how destructive it was. So I was married for 13 years. We basically just grew apart. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't my fault. We both did things wrong, took each other for granted, didn't try hard enough to make things work, to grow and change together. We kind of just grew into two separate people. And for a long time, I didn't want to admit to myself that the marriage wasn't working. For a long time, I didn't have the emotional maturity to either admit to myself that it wasn't working or to admit that I wasn't doing what I needed to make it work. Like I said, I don't put everything all on him. I did not communicate the way I should have. I did not tell him what I needed. It was one of those, oh, if he loves me, he should know what's wrong. I shouldn't have to tell him. He loves me. We've been together this long. He should just know. No, they don't know. You really need to tell him. and I played that game for years, and I would get mad at him when he wouldn't understand. Or I'd be mad at him, and he'd be like, what's wrong? Nothing. Nothing. You should know. I don't want to talk about it. And that's not helpful. It's really not. And I did it for a long time. I just socked it all away inside, didn't want to let it out. I don't know if I was afraid to tell him what was wrong, like he would judge me or he would be upset or he wouldn't care. I can't honestly say. Part of me was maybe didn't even know what was wrong. So how could I express it to him if I didn't know? But for the last couple years that we were married, intimacy was not really there. And we were just kind of trudging along. It wasn't healthy for either one of us. But at that point, neither one of us were willing to talk about it or try and change things. So that's on both of us. Like I said, I don't blame him. He's a good guy. We just ended up not being good for each other anymore. But one of the things that I would do is, and it was usually at night, going to bed, but sometimes it would be, during the day if I just zoned out or whatever, just needed to not focus on whatever it was I was supposed to be focusing on. I would just kind of play these little fantasies in my head. And at first, they started out like movie stars, TV stars, actors, famous people. And I would be their leading lady, and, it would be some big great romance with passion and desire and whisking away to adventures and just this amazing love where you just understand each other. And I would just play these little fantasies in my head before I go to sleep. It was kind of like my relaxation technique. I'd, go to sleep one night, pick up the next night where I left off and be like, okay, we were married and We had two wonderful children, and, you know, he was away acting, and I was with him, just ridiculous fantasies of being with someone else, movie stars, actors, whatever. Well, then the fantasies and, the images and stories in my head turned into real people, people that I actually knew. And I didn't see how damaging that was at the time. But it would be, friends of the family, maybe somebody I worked with, somebody good looking guy, cute, whatever. You know, I never intended on acting on any of these fantasies. I never cheated on my husband. He never cheated on me. That's not really. But it took me a long time to learn that the mental is just as important as the physical. And at the time, I never realized how damaging these little fantasies were, not just for me, but for the relationship. Because even though I would never act on it, I would never go sleep with someone else, I wouldn't carry on another relationship while I was with someone, thinking about it and actively fantasizing about it is pretty much the same thing. You're being mentally unfaithful. That's no different than, obviously there's a difference between thinking about sleeping with someone and actually going and sleeping with someone, but if you're there mentally, it's not that big of a stretch physically. And for me, that's kind of when I knew 100% that my marriage was over, was I started justifying it to myself that I could have an affair, that I could go sleep with someone else and he would never know. And it just hit me. It's like, wait a minute, you're not this person. That's, you need to be real with yourself. And so these fantasies, a lot of times in these fantasies, I would play them out kind of like a soap opera, and there would always be some big dramatic tragedy or emotional something. Sometimes I would be in a car accident and he would rush to my side. Or sometimes I would misunderstand a situation and leave him and he would beg me to return, and you didn't understand, it's not what you think. And I started thinking about it when I saw the sermon today from T.D. Jakes. That's nurturing the pain. It wasn't real pain because it hadn't actually happened to me. But I have, just like I said yesterday, with all of these emotional situations that I can just play out in my head, I react as if they are real. I have completely changed my mood. I have broken down crying over these little scenarios in my head. None of them are real. None of them have actually happened. But I have just put myself into a horrible, miserable, woe is me, melancholy, nobody loves me mood over shit that has never happened. And I realized I would do the same thing with these little fantasies. It'd be something like, we'd be together in this great romance and so in love. And then I would see him with an old girlfriend or, and think he was talking about one thing and it was really another. And, and then I would leave him. I would be so heartbroken that I would leave, that he could treat me like that. And I would just have to leave and I would move away just because of the pain. And he would come across country to find me because we were meant to be together. And I was manufacturing these whole, from beginning to end, relationships in my head. And when they moved from fantasy actors, movie stars, to real people, people that I knew, people that I interacted with in everyday life, it struck me that that is what he's talking about, nurturing the pain. You're just feeding yourself more hurt and emotional trauma by playing this out in your head. And it's the same thing with going through a breakup. I dated someone last year, someone that I've known for a couple years now, always kind of had a crush on. And I would do this fantasy thing. Oh, well, this is how we met. And then we'd be in this amazing relationship and we'd be in love and everything would be so wonderful. And then something bad would happen. He would get hurt. I would get hurt. One of us would be in the hospital and we'd take care of each other and it would be so beautiful and so, proving our love to each other. And I played these little fantasies with him in my head. And then he actually asked me out. And that was an amazing ego boost because that had never happened to me before. The guy that I fantasized about, the guy that I was into, that I really wanted to be with, wanted me back. That had never happened to me before. And I was head over heels. I had already convinced myself that I was half in love with him before we ever even started dating. And we didn't date long. It was only about 3 months, maybe a little shy of that. We had fun. We had a good time. And it hit me one night. I was driving home from his house. And it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. Shit. I love him. And I wasn't happy about it. I wasn't happy that I knew I was in love with him. Because talk about self-destructive behavior, I knew from the beginning that he would never love me back if I fell in love with him. I knew from the beginning that we would never have a permanent future together. We would date, we would maybe be comfortable, maybe we'd be together for a couple years, but it would never be a permanent relationship. And I knew that going in. And I still set myself up. I still did it anyway. That's nurturing the pain. Purposely putting yourself in situations, in places where you know you are going to be emotionally hurt. I set myself up for it. I can't even blame him for that. I never told him I loved him because I knew it would scare the shit out of him. I knew it would send him running for the hills. And what does that say about me? That I let myself be in a relationship where I knew I couldn't tell the person that I love them. And not just I'm scared to say it first or it's too soon type of thing to say that we all fear and think about. That little game everybody plays. Well, I don't want to be the first one to say it. Whatever. I knew he would never love me back. And through a series of unfortunate events, some very poor choices that I made before he and I ever started dating, came back to bite me in the ass and ended up affecting him. And we ended up breaking up. It was very painful for me. It was devastating. I spiraled quickly. I went from happy-go-lucky, confident, feeling good about myself to I'm the biggest slob, I'm the worst person in the world, I'm horrible. I started drinking so I didn't have to think about it. And it hit me one day. I was sitting at work and I was craving a drink. I have never in my life craved a drink. And that scared the shit out of me. My dad was an alcoholic and an addict. And I have never faced that before. And it scared the shit out of me. And it was time to do some really deep evaluations of myself. How did I let myself get here? I thought I had grown so much and come so far from who I used to be. And I have. But it was like I was right back to who I used to be 5 years ago again. Worthless, in despair. Just, I'm nothing. I'm obviously the worst person in the world. I'm disgusting. I'm fat. I'm ugly. No man's ever going to want me again. This, just every fear, every doubt just came rushing back in like they'd never gone away. And so I really had to start evaluating my patterns, my behavior. And our breakup was not good at all because he is someone I see all the time. So yet again, I set myself up for failure. He essentially ghosted me. He stopped returning text. He stopped answering me. When I would actually see him, because like I said, I see him every week, he would literally turn away, act like he didn't see me, go out of his way to avoid me. And boy, did that cause the depression and anxiety to just skyrocket. Oh my God, I'm the most horrible person in the world. He can't even look at me. Just everything. And it was easy to blame him. Oh, he's just horrible. I can't believe he would treat me this way. I knew he didn't feel the same way about me that I felt about him, but I thought he would be different, just blah, 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 all the things that we tell ourselves. But I was nurturing the pain. I put myself in a situation, in a relationship, where I knew from the beginning he would never feel the same way about me that I did about him. That we had no future from the beginning. I knew that. And plenty of people told me not to date him. Everybody warned me. I didn't listen. Oh, it's going to be different. Oh, I understand him. No. I set myself up to fail. And then I really had to take a good hard look at myself and my patterns. So I went back over my list of men. And it's not a super long list. There's probably more names on there than there should be. But I started really looking at them. The number of relationships versus the number of one night stands and or shouldn't have done that. A very clear pattern emerged after every major relationship ending. There was a series of one night stands. Shouldn't have done that. Wow, did I really do that? And it just got me to thinking. I'd always judged other people, some family, some friends, who treated sex as love or sex as acceptance. But then I really started looking at it, and that's what I was doing. At the beginning of last year, late December, early January of 19, I had just gotten out of a relationship. Feeling a little low, feeling a little down on myself. Joined a dating site, talked to a couple guys, seemed very nice. Despite the fact that I told myself over and over and over again, we're going to take it slow. Nope, that didn't happen. And because I was in a very low place, I don't know if I was trying to prove something to myself or what, made some very poor choices that resulted in me getting an STD. So I'm just going to, like I said, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. Thankfully, it was not serious, very treatable, 4 pills, done, over with, not a problem anymore. But I didn't realize I had it, and that was the problem. I didn't have any of the traditional symptoms. I didn't realize that that was the issue until I went to my doctor and found out. And then I had to tell the guy that I was dating. That's not a fun conversation. And that led to me feeling like the biggest piece of shit in the world, that I gave this to him, that he thinks I'm disgusting. And when he finally did text me to break up, he swore that that wasn't the reason. I didn't believe a word of it. That was absolutely the reason. But it just made me examine the actions I take, how I treat myself, how I respect myself. And I wasn't respecting myself. I wasn't, when I made those very poor choices. And honestly, I wasn't by dating him. I am the type of person that believes you date someone, not everybody is going to be a new relationship and the perfect man, but that's the intent of dating, is to find that. I believe that you date with intent to eventually turn it into a permanent relationship. Obviously, there's going to be hits and misses along the way, but that's the intent. And that wasn't what I was doing. And I had to really stop and look at why I make the choices I make when it comes to relationships. Why I either get into a relationship, why I sleep with people that I shouldn't sleep with. And it was a real hard look in the mirror of why I do things. And it got me started thinking about those little fantasies of, well, how would the guy feel if he knew I did that? How would the guy feel if he knew, lying next to him in bed, I was thinking about sleeping with somebody else, whether it's a movie star or not? That's nurturing the pain. You're setting yourself up to fail. Nothing in real life is ever going to be as good as a fantasy. In a fantasy, you can manipulate it any way you want to have the outcome that you want. That's not how real life works. In fantasies, everything comes easy and, oh, it's just meant to be and so sweet and so wonderful. And that's not real life. That's nurturing the pain. You're setting yourself up to fail every time. And so, and it's really weird. Was one of the hardest habits for me to break. I don't do it anymore. I haven't done it in a little over a year. And it's really weird because I did it for years and years and years. But I feel so much better emotionally. I feel stronger that I'm living in the present. I'm not living in some little fantasy world where everything is peaches and cream. It's real. The relationship that I am in now, like I said before, the person, it's a struggle right now. It's not easy. It's not what either of us want right now. But you don't give up because things are hard. You make choices to either stay or go, to either love through the hard things or give up when things get hard. And to me, that's real. Not the little fantasy world where everything works out because we're so in love and everything's just so perfect and, bad things are resolved in moments because it's a fantasy. I'm not feeding on that anymore. I'm not getting mad and getting upset and depressed because everyday life isn't like the little fantasy scenario that I've created in my head that's not real. And it just hit me when he was talking about women nurturing. He was talking about women who hold out hope for years and years. Oh, I know he's with somebody else right now, but I know we were meant to be, and I feel that in my spirit that we're going to get back together and blah, blah, blah. And the dude's like, no, I've moved on. But the woman is holding it in and holding on to relationships for years and years and years after they're over. That's the same thing. That's nurturing the pain. That is not being realistic about who you are and where you are in your life. So as far as I thought I had come, as far as self-esteem and confidence and empowerment and I am enough, I am worthy, I hadn't come as far as I thought because I hadn't done a lot of the hard work of truly examining myself and why I make the choices I make. And I didn't understand it to the extent that T.D. Jakes explained it, but I knew what I was doing wasn't healthy and I needed to stop. And that's what it is. It's nurturing the pain. You're feeding off of it. You're so used to it. That's what you know. You don't know life without it. So you feed off of it because that's what you know. And even if it's not great, even if it makes you feel like shit, You do it because that's what you know. So that is my message today, is stop nurturing the pain, whatever that pain may be for you, whether it's relationship based, whether it's job based, family, whatever the situation is that you're nurturing the pain, take that time to take that good hard look in the mirror and ask yourself why you do what you do. And it's hard sometimes. You might not like what's looking back at you. I did not like when I sat down and looked at the way I dealt with things in the past, the way I've acted. It's not the person I want to be. It's not who I thought I was. But the facts don't lie. End one relationship, sleep with 2 or 3 random people, wait a month or so, new relationship. I don't want that pattern. I don't want to be that person. And I had to really stop and ask myself why I did that. Was it searching for love? Needing to feel needed? Needing to feel wanted? Needing to feel good about myself? That's a temporary fix to a long-term problem. You have to get good with yourself. No one else can fix that for you. And sometimes that is a really hard look in the mirror, and you might not like what's looking back. But I guarantee that if you work on it and address it, I'm not going to pretend I'm 100% different and better. I have tried to actively make different choices, not let myself be driven by the same bad decisions of the past. I have tried to really take a step back. Okay, why am I doing this? Is that really the choice you want to make? No? Okay. Don't do it. What does this mean? Is this the direction you want to head? You just really have to step back and ask yourself those hard questions. And they suck. They really do. It is not easy to come to grips with some of that stuff. Examining the reasons why and how. I looked back through I am 41 years old. I started dating when I was 16. Mental math and I aren't real great, but I'm going to say that's 25 years of a history and me making some pretty questionable choices in those 25 years. There were times that I did things that I look back on now as a full-grown adult and be like, you are fucking stupid. That could have turned out so badly. You are lucky to be alive. And, just really start examining, okay, when did this pattern emerge? What was going on at that time? What happened? Why did you make those choices? And it's a really hard look, self-examination, to figure some of that stuff out. And like I said, it might not all be relationship-based, romantic relationship-based for you. It might be family patterns, constantly going back and letting family abuse you. There's no shame in stepping away from toxic people. And toxic people can be friends, relatives, coworkers, bosses. There is no shame in stepping away from people that are not good for you. And that's something you just really have to examine in your own life, why you've made those choices. So that is, like I said, not at all what I planned on talking about today, but that is what I wanted to talk about today. Stop nurturing the pain inside of you. What you are not changing, you are choosing. And that's cliche, and I know it, but it's true. You can bitch all you want. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, I don't want this. Oh, I don't. If you are not actively trying to change it, I'm not saying change will be easy. It might take a while to change it. But if you are not actively trying to change what you don't like about your life, then you're choosing it. You're settling for it. Is that really the life you want? Stop feeding the pain. Stop feeding the bad. Stop feeding the negative. And change what you need to change. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard as hell in a lot of situations. But you have to do what is best for you. And so many people think that sounds selfish. So many people, especially with family, oh, but it's your mother, it's your brother, it's your father, it's your sister. Toxic people are toxic people. And especially in my experience, if they're family, they're never going to stop because they think you're tied to them forever. Oh, well, that's my mother, cousin, father, brother, whatever. They're not going to leave. We're related. They're family. No. You have to cut out what is not serving you in your life. And sometimes that's your own choices and actions. And you have to be willing to look at that. So that is my message for today. Stop nurturing your pain. Stop feeding it. Thank you.